Anyway, we're live now. Uh,
I joined the bug spray fraternity.
Oh, golly. Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday.
we're just being stupid. Happy Friday. This has simultaneously, I think, in the same boat as everyone else. This has been both the shortest and longest 2 weeks ever. It is somehow all of the above and none of the above at the same time. Somehow, similar to the last session, I realized we were playing today, and I was like, "There's no way! We just played like 2 days ago." No, it's been a full 2 weeks. It is. Time's an illusion. Oh. If anyone is here, I don't know who I can. I need to look and see who's in the chat. If you can hear us, yell. If you can't hear us, also yell. If you want to yell, yell. Yelling is encouraged. Make the noise. Oh wow! Oh man. Oh, getting punchy already.
I went to Asheville this past weekend to see Nick and other friends.
Yeah.
We watched SpongeBob while we were there. It's the first time I've watched SpongeBob in so long. I miss it. I miss
Like
SpongeBob.
good times of SpongeBob, like good era of SpongeBob, or like just any
yeah.
SpongeBob.
No. I mean, I haven't seen any SpongeBob, but we watched good era. We watched Shanghai.
What about
Episode where they end up
SpongeBob the movie?
Which one?
Okay,
The
no.
good-
So
the good one?
everything up until the first SpongeBob movie is good SpongeBob.
With Neptune and the
After that,
crown. And...
things start to.
They start
Yeah.
to. There's some good ones post SpongeBob movie. Not very many, but there are.
But like
some.
Not very many.
before SpongeBob movie,
It is a quality show.
almost
Every single one.
every episode of SpongeBob is just gold.
Yeah.
It's quotable. The meaning of life is hidden in there somewhere.
Comedy gold.
Not to mention a whole plethora of adult humor if you look close.
Oh
enough.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Very much so.
Many things now that I see as an adult, I'm like, they put this in a kid show?
Oh, that's,
What?
Yeah.
Don't go down that rabbit hole. That
Oh
rabbit
yeah,
hole
no.
is Unfortunate.
Fair.
Yeah,
I'm looking
honestly.
at you, Disney. I'm looking at you. Time to get a cease and desist, Logan. Sorry.
Yeah, that was something. Like I one of my favorite classes in like concentrations I did at App was like film studies and like looking at film and TV shows, movies, stuff like that. I really wish I could have looked at TV shows more because like TV shows are such a unique thing as far as like entertainment and like analyzing it, but especially shows like SpongeBob where it's like it's such an entity, it is such a thing that it would be fun to like pick it apart and be like, why is it the way it is? Why does it work?
Steve
God.
Hillenburg is a man.
I
of genius.
remember when Netflix
Frank
was
JT.
trying to just backstab Steven Hillenburg and make a Squidward spinoff right
Ugh.
after Steven Hillenburg died. He was like, "My
That's
dying
fucked up.
wish is for you to not make any spinoffs," and they were like, "He's dead. Let's do it."
That's so fucked up.
And then they made one. There's one coming to Paramount Plus.
Really?
It's like
No.
all of them as kids, and it's horribly 3D animated.
3D
Uh,
animated?
Yes.
Hey, Jacob's
Basically,
right.
like-
Pee pee poo poo.
Pee pee poo poo.
It locks bad.
It locks
so
bad.
You need to get like a bicycle lock.
That's what it makes me think of like Teen Titans and how they rebooted like the Teen Titans Go, and it's like been successful. They had a movie and there's merch, but every time I've seen anything of it, I'm like, this looks stupid.
There's
Like,
one good.
They
episode.
make fun of themselves.
Oh,
Yeah, that's in the movie. There's one good episode, and it's The Night Begins to Shine. The animation's completely different, and it's all built around some stupid fake 80s song that is fantastic.
That's great. That makes
The
me wanna
rest of
rewatch
it
the
should
old
never
one.
have been made. They murdered a good television show.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, no announcements. Announcements are always on like my little break thingies. This week has been boo-boo as far as my work productivity. It's hard writing about things that no one else has fully researched. And so whenever I get a topic that's like, is this chemical bad? And I research it, and there's like 2 things that say, no, it's not. It's hard writing 750 words about that, where it's just like, no. That's it. No, it's not.
So the episode of SpongeBob where he spends a night writing
That's exactly what it feels like, and then I stare at my computer screen for 3 hours. Yep. That's exactly what it feels like all the time. Or go to Fireside Chat tomorrow, or else. Yes, we are doing a Fireside Chat tomorrow for my Patreon people. So come support that. Subscribe to my Patreon, $4 a month. And you come sit and chat with us, and we'll talk about D&D. We'll probably do some fun role-playing warm-ups and talk about the characters that we play, and maybe answer those deep, dark, dirty secrets about the D&D campaign. You and Karch will be in the same place. You have to kiss him on the mouth for me.
Only if you're vaccinated.
Yes. Which, you will? No, you have another week. Never mind. You can't kiss the other one. Anyway. So yeah, that's the only new thing. And then next Wednesday on my channel at I think 6:30 roughly. I need to double check if we're meeting at 6 my time. So 6:30. We're gonna be doing a one-shot to celebrate reaching 100 followers. And thank you to O'Reilly Jr. The O'Reilly Jr. There's no the, but it probably needs a the. For being my 105th follower. But to celebrate breaking 100 next Wednesday, we're going to be playing a cool one-shot using the Mecha Hack system, where my lovely players will be playing pilots and mechs a la Titanfall. Thank you for following. Halanier? I try. Hal, thanks for following, Hal. Number 106. But we're gonna be playing Mecha Hack stuff, playing as cool mechs, fighting aliens and other mechs, trying to survive as a human in space. It's gonna be a lot of fun. They've come up with some very fun characters, and Bradley's playing a discarded refrigerator.
Probably, yeah.
Interesting.
That's an over-exaggeration, but it's a whole thing. Spoilers, yes. Yep, that's secretly going to be our appliance one-shot. They're going to be playing microwaves and fridges for this.
That would...
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Austin would not be.
That's giving me like my little, the little toaster vibes.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly.
Little toaster.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Austin would be very mad if we showed up and I started describing a kitchen scene and you
The ultimate in mech. It's like Fallout tech from Fallout 4. I got my pipe pistol. Let's go.
I got my toaster oven tray, my microwave turntable. Let's do this. Anyway, so that's going to be Wednesday evening. Come out for that. It's going to be lots of fun. It's going to be very goofy, but also very dramatic, a la the system. And then, of course, Monday, Sharn, as always. That's it. I think with that, we're ready to start. There's not a whole lot of recaps to be had. Last session was a lot of downtime. I need to turn down my ambient noise because it looks very loud on my thing. I'm gonna make it duck more. Go duck yourself, ambient music. I got him! There we go. Turn on the rain a little bit too. A little bit more. That looks fine. Excuse me. That was so gross. So I think we're fine now. So last time it was downtime session. My players, or my characters, player characters, recovered from grievous wounds sustained during the Battle of the Birdsong Estate. Well, some of them healed from grievous wounds. Sludig just went and arena fought on the deck of a ship for a couple days.
That and then got beaten the ever-living crap out of by a big daddy with an anchor.
That also sure happened. Yes, while Sludig was leaving his normal pit fighting scene, he witnessed a diving suit rise from the ocean and take to the town, seemingly piloted by Gloam itself, Sludig engaged in a fight with it and was. How would you describe it,
Outmatched
Drew?
is accurate.
There we go.
Uh,
It was a large creature, and Sludig on his own was unable to stop it, which makes sense for a entirely metal and horror-filled suit. It stalked through the night, and the following morning there were more rumors of missing people, so it clearly did its work. But the week went on. They went about their downtime, crafting and healing and doing whatever they needed to. The occurrence of the diving suit, even just the sheer descriptions, caused Kamin to have a bit of a remembrance session, and now he's on some sleeping anxiety medicine, courtesy of Agnes
Into
Wood.
madness.
Succumb to a bit of madness. They now have a friend, Agnes Wood, who can supply them with good concoctions, potions, and things for a bit of a price. And the last thing is that as they were, I believe it was Aminah, traversing the town, going about your normal day-to-day, you heard a mourner in the very seldom used graveyard mourning over maybe the grave of Aveline, the woman who started the encounter with Kamin. Clearly, one, people know she's dead. Two, she may have been buried. Even though last you all know that all the bodies were left behind at the estate. So after a week of having to take time to recover, and not slow the recovery down, now it is the start of a new week. We'll call it a Sunday. Or no, Monday, because I don't want to do that. Monday. I like starting on Mondays. I don't know
No,
why.
you're right. That's fair.
So it is a fresh Monday. It's of course overcast, a bit drizzly. But it is a new day. You're all healed up. You can go about your normal stuff. However, Kamin, with your sleeping meds, you sleep soundly. But you are imparted a strange dream.
Oh.
May or may not be related to a feat you have taken, but you experience a very powerful and realistic feeling dream. It feels as though you're on the ocean, on a ship, maybe. You can feel your feet rocking beneath you. You can feel the sea breeze hitting your face. You can hear the sounds of the waves crashing. But the only thing you can see is a light way off ahead of you. Flash into your vision and then fade out. Flash into your vision and fade out. It does this 2 or 3 times, but all the while there's actually we'll make this fun. We'll leave it up to chance. Make either an make a perception check.
Oh boy.
Now with your reduced wisdom.
Oh, that's right. It's still a +1. I am for some reason proficient. 14.
Amid the crashing of the waves, you can hear just the faintest whispers, almost mimicking the crashing of the waves. And after a few flashes of this light, bit of crashing of the waves, you shake awake, open your eyes to the bit of light creaking in through the window of your room. Thank you for cheering some bits!
Aww.
Not to relieve some of that intense dreaming. Thank you.
Thanks, Becca.
Thanks, Becca. If I can say your name on stream, I don't want to.
Don't dogs.
Don't dox O'Reilly Jr. 007. Bill O'Reilly
Alright.
Jr., the FBI agent.
Yike.
Anyway, yeah, so with that, it is a new week. You all are fully healed and done all your things. Get spell slots back. All that good shit that we did at the last one. You have new feats and new abilities now that you've developed over your week. And now I am going to just open the floor to you guys, mulling over breakfast or discussing over the course of the week. It's very amorphous right now. What's on the docket? What do you... I know before we did our downtime, you had mentioned a slew of things to potentially get working on and looking into. But now that you're not having to take time to heal and whatever else, you are free reign to pursue as many things as you want. So go ahead and start chatting about that.
All right. Well, we have spent a good amount of time getting our ducks in a row, getting our various equipments, hopefully resting up. We've made a few new friends, and we've stocked up on some things that I'm sure we're going to need in the near future. I, for one, would be curious to check out the locations on the map that we have, because I have a feeling that there is something in there that we need to take care of sooner rather than later. Something we need to be proactive about. I couldn't really tell you why. Perhaps it's just a spidey sense, if you will.
Oh, we. And on that note, so you have by this point, especially having spending a week in town, gathering information, doing what you do, some of the places that you have at least heard about or have visited. The places you have definitely visited and spent time around are the inn, of course, the Rivermouth Inn, the Ortis Lab where Agnes woodworks. Of course, you've been to the town square. It is very seldom used. Occasionally, people go there to peddle random things they've collected on the beaches, or at least on this bit of coast. It's not really much of a coast. Or sometimes people go there to have a duel. To two people get too drunk and they go out there and just one of them gets shot, and that's kind of the end of it. There's not really a whole lot of rules to it. Mostly because not a whole lot of rules here, period. There is the retired ship where Sludig goes to do his fighting. There is a lighthouse that is still in use. It is an actively used lighthouse to ships going in and out from the Eggfield Isles. There's the taxidermy shop that you've gotten word about, that the woman who runs it, and you've heard her name, Lavidia King. She is a taxidermist, so of course she's a little odd, but she's good at what she does, and she can stitch you up if you get wounded and need a quick fix. There's the graveyard and accompanying, I can't remember what the actual building is called, or the cemetery, where the keeper is. It's not a very often used graveyard, and from what Aminah has noticed, that's a lot because either people go missing before they die, or sometimes they'll do sort of Viking funeral type thing and put them in a small wooden pallet, float them out to sea, and ignite them. Sometimes just cremated. There's also the almost sneaking suspicion that sometimes bodies might just be disposed of in the waterways. That would definitely be a possibility. So it's not a very active graveyard by any means. And then the chapel that's on the northern side of town, which is labeled the Profane Chapel, solely because there is a strong and probably fairly well-founded rumor that it is cursed. It is believed that no one can even approach it, and if anyone enters in it, they are doomed for death. It is a chapel of the old, deities, the old gods of the Five Dominions, and so it is just a cursed place. No one is supposed to go there, and that's not even just like a. You can almost tell whenever people talk about it that that's not just like a fable or just a superstition. Like, there's legitimate fear behind these beliefs. So it seems pretty well grounded from what you can tell. And then on top of that, there are like warehouses for the oil for the lamps, the Glauca lamps. There's firearm stores. There's little pawn shops here and there. And I'm trying to think if there was any other interesting places. Probably nothing else that would stand out too much. But there's all sorts of varieties of stores and things as well. So yeah, filling in the gaps a little bit with that.
Well, I'm just as keen as anyone else to get in and follow this map and discover what's really going on here. Do we feel we're properly prepared for something like this now?
I got my hands on a little bit of coin. If we want to go back and visit Agnes, maybe we can buy a health potion or two, since we'll be away from town and anybody who could stitch us up.
I certainly would not be opposed to that.
That's a good idea. In fact, there is something that I do need to take a look into. Now that I recall before we go. So yes, let's go pay our darling, a visit.
All right.
Man, Becca fucking got me with that propane chapel. That fucking got me. I was not prepared to read that. Before we sell all of our profane and profane accessories. Oh, Jesus. So you're taking a trip across town to visit Agnes again. I believe, if I recall, correct me, whenever you arrived at the Rivermouth Inn, Stonehill Inn is in Phandelver. Not this universe. It's weird that I remember that, even though I run that campaign like twice. As you go down for breakfast, I recall that you paid for sort of the package of food and room and board. Did you pay for more than a week?
I think we only
paid a week.
I think so as well.
So we owe some
So
money.
you'll know that you'll have to come in with a bit of money because it is a very cheap inn. It is by no means expensive. However, I believe for you guys, it is definitely a poor lifestyle. It's only 2 silver pieces for the week normally, but as you are getting treated to breakfast, Rosanna comes around, the proprietor of the inn, and let me look up her description again because it's been a couple weeks since we've seen her. She's a very short, stout woman, but she definitely commands the room in just her personality. The staff she uses to hit passed out drunkards is still in the corner, as always. And you notice that around her waist, like utility belts, all of her like utensils and things that she needs to run everything. But she walks over and, says like, you've been here for a week, so of course I need to collect another payment if you're going to be staying here longer, but unfortunately the mayor has upped some of the taxes and payments and things that I need to run this place, so I will have to up the charge, not much, from 2 silver to 3 silver for this week to help cover some of those costs. And you're loyal, so of course we'll be good for it. You'll get the finest meals that finest that is truly possible here, which isn't much, but give you extra portions and elbow slutig.
Well, I do have to eat a little bit extra than what you're used to giving. I guess I can give you the 3 silver.
That sounds fair enough, darling. You work hard to keep this place up and running. Here's your money.
There's more than enough service for what we're paying for you. We appreciate every bit of it.
And you see that, like, she wants to make a snide comment about, you being such a smooth talker, but it's just like, no, they're good. They're fine. Like, I don't. So 3 silver from each of you, which is, a gold is 10 silver. So if you want to make the change if you need to.
I give it to her in electrum pieces because fuck you, Logan.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thanks, Strahd. But yeah, so yeah, she comes by to collect that payment. So you're covered for the next week, and if you wanted to, you could pay further in advance, but who knows how long it might take. So that gets paid for the week. Then you make your way across town to the Ortis. So along the way, of course, this side of town is mostly empty. Most of the business is down at the harbors and ships. So really not too many people doing stuff. Maybe it's like 10 a.m. right now. And so you make your way over to the Ortis. Of course, you can see the chimney billowing out. You can see the variety of lantern posts outside that are keeping the place well lit, even though it's early morning. And you can make yourselves at home, walk right in. The bell dings. It's filled with incense and smoke. The bubbling of various alchemical apparatuses, apparati. That doesn't sound right. But after the bell dings, Agnes comes in wearing her normal flowing colorful robes, carrying her staff as an Ortis and wearing the veil across her face. And she says, "Oh, good to see you all again. How can I help you? What do you need?"
I was hoping we could purchase a couple more health potions from you. We're about to go out of town, and we may run into some danger.
Of course. Unless you have something to trade or supplement the payment with, these will be 50 gold pieces each.
I'll go ahead and I'll take 2 of them.
Yep. And she pulls out, those very familiar sort of pyramid-shaped bottles. Seems like she specially orders these with a wax seal covering the cork. 2 of those, 100 gold. Great. Where are you headed to?
We've got a lead outside of town for your safety as well as ours. You didn't want to get too involved in this, but we'll be heading out for maybe a day too.
I think it's going to check out some real estate. I think it's the cover we used.
Yep.
Love it. As well, I hear it is a quite a good market right now. You can get some great deals on swampland.
There's a buyer's market out there. As in, please, oh God, please buy it.
They'll literally just give it to you. They'll pay you to take it.
Well, why do you think we're going?
But I will also take one of those healing potions if you have it on.
Sure. Just another one, another 50 gold.
Yes, and darling, there is something special I would actually like to ask of you. However, may we speak in private?
Received.
You don't have to wait out in the cold and rain. Here, come into the back room. And she leads you back, and it's fairly identical to the front as far as like how organized and clean it is kept, but this is definitely like sort of her personal quarters where there's like a desk at one end and there's just a draw curtain that separates it from just a bed and a little alcove. Just what is it?
What have you heard of as to the reasoning I look and dress like this?
As in what the upper Ortis called it, or
yes.
What
if people said? I'm curious.
Well, as you know, the magic, aside from what is practiced by the Ortisterium, is not looked upon fondly. And I think they maybe rightly assumed that if anyone knew, then they, might get some witch hunters or some glory hungry crusaders. So they didn't say too many specifics. They said you were sort of going on leave. You were going to pursue other personal projects. They didn't really talk too much about it.
I can tell you have a kind heart and a good spirit about you. I don't reveal this to you lightly. However, you have a good magic about you have a good skill with magic, I can tell. And so I know this might take a while to figure out how to change. But, and as she's talking, she's going to slowly undo her headscarf, her eye patch, and her face mask. And we see, or Agnes sees, everything that the curse of her childhood has done to her. The split eye, the scraggly hair, the mouth that is starting to look more like a spider. And Aminah just calmly says, I need something that can hide this. There's only so long I can wear this mask.
She sits and stares for a moment or two. And she straightens herself out and starts to, like, look a bit closer. I could come up with something. Might not be incredibly permanent, but I can work on something a bit more permanent. And she's just like leaning, looking, getting closer, like really analyzing. She says, I could see about something more permanent. Does it hurt? Does it feel weird?
Oh, of course it hurts, darling. Of course it hurts. I'm turning into a goddamn spider. And like that's I know that whatever affliction was given to me way back in my childhood, it won't ever be fixed. Of course I've tried to fix it. So I'm not looking for anything that'll make this go away. I'm just looking for something that I can throw on that will at least give the guise of a normal human face. Because there's only so long I can keep going for having everything but my one good eye covered. An amulet, a ring, anything. And it doesn't have to be now, because I know this will take a while. But if you do this for me, there will be a debt that I will repay tenfold.
And she's still staring, but you can tell she's definitely listening. Because I'll work on it. And you're going outside of the town?
Yes.
Possibly? And you trust the gentleman you're traveling with?
They've saved me more than once.
Maybe, since you'll be out of town, maybe you could take some of that time to let it breathe. Maybe get used to that. But also, I don't know how far, and I don't want to know how far you're going. But if you go too far out of town, there's the bog witches, and I know that they have the capabilities to change forms and mutate and transfigure. That means they could either be of help or they could be harm. But I don't know how far you're heading outside of town. They're quite a ways north of here, but who knows who you might bump into.
That's a very good lead. That'll be a good place to start, at least. I do appreciate it. And now she's redoing everything to her normal visage. I won't keep you long, but I did need to let you know that should certain events arise.
Were you born that way, or was it an effect from the Gloam?
I want to say it has something to do with the Gloam, but to be perfectly honest, this was an affliction put onto me when I was very young, far too young to even have a comprehension of what happened. And it certainly was not immediate. It gave me, it changed my mind in a way. It helped me think faster. It helped me learn faster. That's probably why I did so well in the Ordisterium, to be perfectly honest. But as time went on, the physical aspects started showing in. It was only a matter of time before people were going to see me as a freak. So this was for the purposes of blending in and whatnot. So whatever witch did this to me, I imagine she's been long dead.
Let's hope so. Do you and your friends need anything else? Any other potions or things? Because I would like, before I forget, I would want to make a few sketches and make some notes down.
Fair enough, fair enough. And at this point, since she's asking about that, are we like going back into the main
Yeah,
area?
you can go back out there and
Alright,
she'll,
so we're-
she'll ask and say, anything else, concoctions or ingredients, components you need before you get the old muddy road?
No ingredients or anything else that I could afford.
If you've talked to Aminah, they know much more about this sort of thing than I do. Typically, I just stick to the little triangles. They pick me back up when I need them.
Nice.
Kamin, do you need any sleeping agents?
Kind of glancing about the room of people who aren't aware that he's on drugs.
Yeah, and because of everything that just happened, she says that and sees you glance and is just like, oh, fuck, doctor-patient confidentiality, no.
He's just gonna, we're fine, thank you. Anyway.
Yeah, it's amazing what seeing your idol reveal that they're half spider does to you.
And so like as this is going on, to throw in what we learn, Aminah is like she's just kind of looking around right now, and she notices like a book that she knows she's read, like in the Ordisterium, and it's like, oh, this is cute. I remember this. This was in what, our introductory course to Arcana or something. Oh, I remember that person. What a character. And she's just flipping through it for nostalgia, and she notices a spell that like is like so basic, but then she's like, this could be used in a way that they're not outlining here. And long story short, Faye touched feet.
Yeah. You touch up on those old skills you learned early on as an artist. Yeah, and getting all your potions in order and things like that. Make sure you don't need anything else. She offers to let you take that book with you in case you want to revisit any other old skills and old lessons.
I'll gladly take it.
Yeah, she'll let you have that introductory book, and then, or at least borrow it with the, hopefully you'll bring it back. But then, sort of when no one is looking at her, on just with like paper and charcoal, she's making these sketches that sort of vaguely look like a head, where it's just like circle, nose, mouth, and is just doing sketches of like essentially you, Aminah, trying to like get an idea of like, okay, teeth have grown here, the eye looks like this, it has this coloration, this shaped pupil, and this shape, and all sorts of stuff. And begins her tinkering and brainstorming. And then you all head back out. It's maybe been half an hour to 45 minutes. It's still mid to late morning. And you can proceed with whatever your next plans are.
Perfect.
So are we trying to head out of town today? And I can't remember what our stance was with Dieter.
I believe Dieter wanted to accompany us.
Were we going to let him, though?
I mean, more hands make less work, but...
Fair enough. He just seemed very particular about the map.
Yeah. I don't... We'll talk to him. We'll see what he has to say about it.
He certainly has a keen eye. That's for sure. We should keep a keen eye on him. I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Dieter, he is destitute. He is homeless, vagrant around town. And so he has given you kind of an area of the places he bounces around between, but finding him on any given day is kind of its own challenge. So if the three of you, I'll let you decide. Do you want to split up and try your own separate methods of trying to locate him? Because I assume, like, Aminah might slink through alleys and get a quicker view of the town, whereas, Kamin may just ask people, find other homeless people, and be like, hey, do you, persuade them. So either as a group, you can split up and do your own methods, and that could also mean if someone wants to just help another person, or you can make a group check and maybe have better odds and make the same check. But, some of you might not have those skills. So I'll kind of leave that up to you, however you want to go about it.
Fair enough. And it's still daytime.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
right?
It's like 11 a.m.
Okay.
Almost time for second breakfast.
Huh.
Well, I'm just as keen to ask around for a bit, see if anybody's seen him around. Unless anyone else has anything more pressing they wish to do about it.
I'm not the best at this sort of thing. Maybe I can accompany you, Kamin, and we can let Aminah go and be as quick as she is.
I am actually curious to accompany you all as a group. I can sneak around, but that will not give me a sense of how people interact. I want to see that.
I like it.
I wish to observe them.
So if all of you will make, because there's so many charisma skills, persuasion would probably be the most ideal to accomplish this, because if you intimidate or something, that could give you a bad reputation, or you could deceive.
Can I aid Kamin instead of making a check on my own?
Since this will be a group check, it'll be everyone making the check, but because you're doing it as a group, it sort of raises your chances a little bit. So if
Persuasion?
Yeah, everyone, if you'll make a persuasion check for me. Performance enhancing spider.
11.
1.
Very good.
24.
Wow, we got the whole spectrum here, folks.
Wait, Daniel, what did you get?
I got an 11.
What do I do with that? All right. So here's what happens. So Kamin, you come up to the first, group of people who are lingering in an alleyway, and you start, you strike up a bit of conversation talking about the shitty weather, all good small talk things. And you start asking about Dieter, and one of them looks up. Sludig, you recognize someone whose ass you beat on the ship during this fighting ring. And immediately this person runs away, and seeing this person run away, the others follow suit, and just like, oh shit, they're bad. And with what Daniel had specified was sort of seeing how people are. When one of them got scared and panicked, they all did, and bolt immediately. And it's a very strange, like, oh, okay. So you kind of have to skirt around for, a little while longer, find another person. And it takes you until about 12:30 before eventually someone mentions that Dieter is down at the docks. Um, Today is he kind of bounces back and forth apparently between sort of patrolling the alleys and the streets and moving cargo down at the docks because he needs money to afford his booze at the inn. So today is his cargo day, and so he's down at the docks working. And so you can go down there. It's a bit busier. And if all of you can make an insight check for me. I love that anytime I ask for literally any check, Bradley gives this a grimace.
Well, any wisdom-based check.
I got an 18.
Okay.
2.
I got a 3.
But hang on, because that was a natural 1 plus 1. So really, it was a natural 1.
Nice. Ludig! Well, Aminah, Kamin, it's, normal. Kamin, it might make you feel a little uneasy just with the sounds of dock workers yelling at each other, the smell of the sea, the lapping of water, the creaking of the docks and the ships. And in fact, all of you will notice that some of the ships are from the Eggfeld Isles, which a lot of shipments come from. A lot of cargo and, supplies for the town come from. And vice versa, they trade a lot. So, Kamin, it might evoke a little bit of strange feel. He's returning again! O'Reilly 007. So, Kamin, it might elicit just a few emotions, but with the bit of time you've taken over the past week, it's not... You're gradually, very slowly coming to terms and getting a wrangle on things. Man, if only mental health were that easy. You just take a week and you're fine.
If only.
Oh, if only. But for the most part, it seems business as normal here. Sludig, it is not business as normal here. There is a weird tension in the air. And you start thinking like, oh, maybe it's just because I beat up a lot of these people. And you recognize a few faces that you may have fought a little bit. But it's more than that. There are people who are looking at you with familiarity. You not necessarily like, oh man, you're celebrities around town, but people you have definitely seen or been around in town at the bar. But there are definitely people who are looking at you with familiarity and animosity. It's just a quick glance here and there. They're trying to crack open a crate and they glance up. And it's more than just like oh, who is it? There is venom in that glance of like, oh. And then they go back to work and keep going. And so while no one else notices, Sludig, you are very aware of this tension along the piers here.
I whisper to Aminah and Kamin. It looks like our friend who escaped the estate has been spreading some rumors about us. At least look at the stairs. Look at us.
Of course.
Well,
We better make this quick then.
let's fix that. Huh?
Sounds like a plan. At first, I thought it was maybe me punching some fools, but I only see one or two of those people here. Not as many people who look so angry at us.
So it takes just a few minutes to eventually locate Dieter with his large, wide-brimmed hat. He's dressed fairly normally. He still has all of his weapons on him. No one else has weapons, so you think maybe like, oh, he's just one of those stubborn people who keeps it on him.
One of those open carry idiots.
Yeah. He's like, there are demons in this water. I gotta defend myself. And they're all like, all right, old man. But you notice that whenever you spot Dieter, he is in a yelling match with seemingly the captain of one of these cargo ships that has come in. It's a woman wearing, a classic tricorn hat, long coat that's caked with sea salt in various places. But as you sort of spot him and get a bit closer, you can hear his half the conversation. She's not necessarily responding. And I think all of you've been in town long enough, and you've probably witnessed Dieter do this once or twice before. He's doing that sort of drunk person yelling at the bouncer at the club, where it's just yelling at essentially a brick wall. Like, this captain is standing there just like, uh-huh. Yep. Uh-huh. I know. Yeah. Yep. Great. Uh-huh. I will let them know. Absolutely. And you hear his half of the conversation is essentially yelling at this captain that the shipments have been late. They've been there's been fewer. There's less cargo. People are going to start starving in town. People are, going to start dying even more than they already are. He's essentially yelling that, the shipments are less frequent and smaller. It is not his job at all to be yelling whatsoever. He is just some guy who moves crates. This is not his job, but he's made it his job. And he is yelling at this captain. And as you start approaching, she looks up and sees you, and just notices, oh, you're not normal people who work on the docks, which causes Dieter to probably paranoid. He whips his head around, sees you all, and immediately ends his yelling tirade and says, "Hey, how's it going, guys? Just working today," and starts moving a box. And by the time you look away, that captain is gone. She has run away and moved on with her day. She is out of here. And Dieter goes back to moving boxes.
Sounds like you're having a time.
Says, if no one else, somebody's got to do it. That bystander affect. I can never remember which one it is. If no one's gonna do it, somebody's got to do it. You know what I'm saying? If no one's gonna yell about shipments, somebody's got to yell about shipments.
Oh, I know it. Hey, why don't you come over here with us for a second?
That sounds ominous. Sure. He sets the box down.
When has that ever stopped you before?
He yells out, says, "I'm taking a smoke break," and you see some former off to the side, like, wave at him, and he walks over, pulls out a smoke, pulls out his flask, takes a couple swigs, a couple puffs. Says, what's going on?
We're headed off to look at some real estate. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I hear it's a real, a renter's paradise.
Cheeseburger in paradise. Anyway.
It's a real Jimmy Buffett out there outside of town.
How's the weather outside today? It's really Jimmy Buffett out here. Anyway, we're headed off to take a look at that area we spotted on the map. You wanting to accompany us on that, or?
Looks around one more time, yells over to the foreman and says, "I'm gonna go grab a bite real fast on this smoke break." Foreman waves. He doesn't give a shit. And Dieter kind of motions you over, says, "Let's go grab a bite to eat." And he leads you kind of away from the docks.
Before we go, I'm gonna flick the dockmaster, whoever he was working for. I'm gonna flick him a silver piece and just kind of give him an apologetic nod and keep moving.
He looks up and says, "I should be paying you. Thank you." But he takes it, pockets it.
Having experienced one of Dieter's rants before for hours on end, yeah, he should be.
Makes sense. So Dieter leads you away not to go grab a bite, but to essentially just a secluded area off the side. He takes you to some, abandoned dock nearby where no one is working. Says, "All right, so which place are you thinking about going to?" And points on the map. He says, "Now, are you looking for anything in particular, or just seeing what you could find?"
I guess a bit more of the latter than the former. Kind of looking for a lead. We don't know. We haven't seen any of these folks since we had our encounter over at the Birdsong, and
I think you probably
drove them back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make them shake in their robes a little bit. these spots, I didn't look at this one in particular, but I know that they're sort of exits to some waterways, underground water sources, and I mean, I could be wrong. As far as I know, where I met you all, that was one of their earliest excursions outside of town to these waterways. I mean, they could still very well be doing it still, uh, but if those are all sort of new, I don't know, or very well, you might be able to find some evidence of something somewhere, something they may have left behind, but I don't know. I'd love to go with you though.
Well, I look to my companions before saying, we'd love to have you with us, right?
Before we go, I do have a question for you. When we were walking over to the docks, the people were looking at us, and so they wanted to put a knife in our backs. You spend more time around these people than we do. Do you know anything about that?
I think it's by now it's gotten around about what happened at the estate. I've tried to push it back a little bit, but of course the rumor is that you all attacked townsfolk who were loitering there. I know that's not the story, but that's kind of what's gone around from people who may have heard about it.
Mhm.
I don't think people care all too much, but I think the right people are caring, or the wrong people are caring in this sense, and
That makes sense.
making it public.
I figured I should tell you this as well, since you seem to be working down here by the docks. At nights, I'd stay away. Cover your ears, Kamin.
I'll just walk away.
You're like, all right, okay. Don't even want to chance it.
There's a suit of steel. It looks
I
like
I heard. Yeah, he.
Keep your voice down.
Yeah, I heard about that. Came up out of the water.
Various alarms going
But he says, yeah, it snatched up some folk. I heard. But
I had
it's
a run-in with it.
you had to run.
Of course, I lift my shirt and I show him like the giant bruise that's still probably yellow but fading.
Okay,
You-
hold
you-
up for a second. Did Salute actually share this with any of us?
Yes.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what
sorry.
sent Kamin
into
his
his
spiral.
bout.
into his spiral.
Okay.
Yeah. I imagine you look like All Might whenever like he was showing his wound to Deku. It's just like
my intestines are gone.
the
My respiratory organs.
were nearly crushed. So yeah, you show him that, and he looks back up to you, saluting, and says, "And you survived."
He's a hardy one.
I would call it a tactical retreat, but maybe that's a little bit too onerous to myself. I kind of ended up having to run away with my tail between my legs. But don't mention that to anybody at the Fight Club. I have a reputation to uphold.
Oh no, yeah, they've been complaining about that too. They're ready to try and whoop your butt, but I don't
Well, they can bring
think they
it.
can. Oh gosh. So yeah, I saw that too. I didn't hear any more about it after that one night, so maybe it was a fluke. Anything else I should be on the lookout for?
Not that I know of, other than our friends who seem to be kidnapping people, but I think that was the big guy with the Inca.
Right. Hey, Kamin, you can come back now.
I make my way back.
You make your way back. So are you leaving tonight or tomorrow morning? Now?
No.
Now?
Yeah. Unless you have anything else you need to take care of before we go.
I just need to make sure all my friends are taken care of, make sure they'll be all right, and then we'll be good to go. If we want to set, maybe 3 o'clock, grab some lunch, and then we make our way out.
Sounds good.
Fair enough.
He starts thinking back. So last time, whenever we met and they were at this pond site, they were doing some kind of ritual. There were a bunch of them. Do you guys feel ready, prepared to deal with kind of that magic, that stuff again? That many people again, I guess. Just in case, I don't know.
We'll do what we must.
I think we can manage.
I don't know what else we'd do to prepare for it, to be honest.
That's a good point. All right. I'll go tell the boss I won't be coming back. I'll tell him I threw up or something. I don't know.
Don't worry about him. He's taken care of.
I believe you. And I'll go worry about the folks over on my side of town. Then we'll meet up for lunch. We'll get ready. And we'll head out.
Excellent.
All right. And he kind of gives you all a pat and then goes on his business to get all that in order. So you have maybe another 2 hours before lunch and departure. So if there's any other business you want to take care of.
Question. Is there, within the vicinity that we're in, because would we be like nearby, the marketplace or shops or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Would there be a shop that happens to sell a grappling hook?
This happens,
Just happens.
Or something like a large hook that can be like sort of jerry-rigged into a grappling hook.
And you would probably find, or at least like similar implements, like even just around the docks of you, like a boat's getting too far away, so that way they can and pull it back. So yes, absolutely, you'll be able to find a grappling hook. I don't think that's terribly expensive. Yeah, that's what I thought. 2 gold pieces.
Okay, I'm grabbing a grappling hook, y'all.
Grappling
Nice.
a grappling hook.
Just gonna shimmy this in here, grappling hook, and I don't know if there's anything special we need to do, but like I want to essentially make it so that like it's not a crossbow bolt, but like she like makes it so that it gets attached to like her crossbow, and if there's something that we need to scale, she can just go choo, and it just goes scale, and then
Absolutely.
you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe I might need to look. Yeah, so the hook is just something you attach to a rope. And your current rope situation, everyone really, you have 50 feet of rope. So generally, if you shoot and grapple hook something, you will have 50, it'll reach up to 50 feet and you'll be able to climb. If you want more, you'll just have to purchase more rope and, tie them, cinch them together.
Okay, where do we purchase 50 more feet of rope?
Literally anywhere. You can probably go down to the old docks and find some rope to, steal. Basically, for every 50 feet of rope, it's just a gold piece. So, however much rope you want, it's a gold piece per 50 feet. It'll be heavy, of course, to carry around with you, but...
Fair. Okay. I want to see if I can mitigate the weight a little bit then. Let's say, could we split that in half and make that 25 feet?
Sure. And you can spend an electrum or 5 silver.
Hey, I'm getting rid of that electrum piece.
Finally, a use.
All right, so now
I imagine you're like, hey, can I get an extra 25 feet over? They're like, yeah, that's an electrum. And you're like, a what?
Oh, thank God, I've had this thing for 15 years.
All right, fantastic. And I have a grand total of 75 feet of rope and a freaking grappling hook.
Hell yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. Any other purchases or things you want to do in this 2 hours beforehand?
I've used my lamp or
What's
lantern
up, Steven?
quite frequently. Might as well fill up on some lantern oil. It's been
Um,
the
we'll say, uh,
Mhm.
so since you're going to be going out on the road, essentially we'll say you can fill up on adventuring stuff. So lantern oil, torches, replace any uh, rations, make sure you have food for the journey. Um, and essentially a single serving of rations. You go through one of those a day, and so 10 servings will get you through 10 days, etc., etc. We'll say just for upkeep purposes of making sure you have all of your required adventuring gear, we'll just call it an even gold piece. For the sake of also, if you guys don't have written down that you have a crowbar, we can say, if you spent the gold piece to stock up on adventuring supplies, then one of you will have a crowbar to use.
Is that going to be for all of us?
A gold piece each to make sure that you each have lantern oil, torches, extra rope, etc., supplies.
Okay, fair enough.
I spent the
Pedon.
gold.
However
There you go.
pronounce it.
Yeah.
I do the same.
Anyway, so you get any kind of bonus supplies you might need. Okay, other stuffs, activities, purchases.
Hmm. There is stuff I want to do, but I feel like if I grab any more, it'll start being an issue of carrying weight and all that.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm already running low on gold. So I'm good unless you all want to do something else.
I'm also running a little low on gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna have to spend some time back at the boat. Speaking of which, if y'all want to gamble money on me, you might win some. That and you'll fill my pockets.
That could be arranged.
Oh man, the communal pockets. Alrighty. So with nothing else, you meet up with Dieter at like 2:30 to grab some lunch. He flirts with Rosanna a little bit.
Does she reciprocate?
She of course does. He
Is she doing it
drinks.
for tips or because she loves him?
She loves him. She definitely loves him.
Oh,
He flirts because he's drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But you guys eat, and as you are eating your lunch, it's gonna get dramatic.
Oh.
You notice an individual walk into the inn, the Rivermouth Inn. And if I could get any or all of you to make either actually, I'll let you, any of you, whatever you want to roll, perception, insight, or investigation.
perception.
A wide array.
A 7 with a nat 1.
Investigation for sure.
Yeah. Ditto. 19 for investigation.
What the hell? 9. No, I'm sorry. I can do math. 10.
Ooh.
Ooh, double digits. Nice. Look at you bragging.
Kamin, you had a 19,
I did.
and Sludig, you had a what?
A
Feels bad.
7 perception. Yeah, I rolled a nat 1.
Actually, you know what? For reasons in particular, Drew, go and roll that at advantage. Roll it again.
Uh-oh.
24?
Very
Kamin, what skill did you roll, Kamin?
investigation.
When this person walks in, you recognize the traits of a fighter, a well-armed person. Various scars, bruises, a black eye. and fairly well equipped. But also you notice the characteristic signs of, pale skin, sickly veins close to the surface, and like bloodshot, rimmed eyes. Sludig, you notice a familiar face. One that you have in fact fought before.
Oh, this guy.
You see the, no, not this guy.
No.
You see the, sort of resident fighter of the fighting ring that you, or the fighting club. Her name is Maddie Lewis. She's a tall, burly, basically female Sludig. Huge, wide, tough, but of course, Sludig, no match for you. She walks in, it's a chillier day, so she's fairly well bundled up in a turtleneck, high-collared jacket. But of course, black eye from her fighting, a couple cuts and bandages across her face. And Maddie Lewis walks into the bar. She takes up so much space as she walks through the door. But she walks straight over to Rosanna and says, "I'm here to collect the taxes on behalf of the mayor." And Rosanna just says, "I'll grab it here." Rosanna walks behind the counter, gets, bag. You hear the clinking of coin. Says, "Give the mayor my regards. I hope he's doing well." And Maddie just nods. As she turns and her eye lines moves across the bar. Sludig, you definitely make eye contact with her. And she keeps turning and walks back toward the front door and goes to leave. And unless anyone wants to do anything, she will make her way out.
I'll let her leave. We've got important business, but I'll turn to the party and say, "That woman, she visits the boat I go to. It's a little shocking to see her working with the mayor, but her name's Maddie. If you ever run into her, you could tell by the size. You might not want to brawl with her."
Maybe you want to do something else with her, but that's fine.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh my god.
Y'all are spicy.
Snoo, am I right?
There are worse deaths.
Yes,
Jesus. So yes, Maddie collects those taxes, and you finish up your breakfast with Dieter. It's like breakfast at Tiffany's, but breakfast with Dieter. He does nothing but complain and yell about stuff the entire time.
It's basically like a horrible pie by Dad's breakfast with Dieter.
Breakfast with Dieter. So I was watching The Walking Dead last week.
That one's for you, Jacob.
Oh man. So yes, you have lunch. You get yourselves geared up. You get whatever other stuff from your rooms that you may have left behind, in case you left Malachi in your room to play and get exercise.
In my backpack.
You will then pack up and make your way across town and out of town to see where this map may lead.
And we're out of town. I'll let him out of the backpack.
So, Daniel,
Yes.
as you watch, you've watched Kamin keep Malachi's secret. It's probably been a week since you've really seen Malachi, and so you wait till, out of town came and you let Malachi out. And Aminah, you kind of hear the words echo of Agnes Wood saying, "Yeah, when you get out of town, you're with everyone. You can let yourself breathe a little bit." Do you?
Not now. Not now.
After Dieter's dead.
No, Aminah's playing the long con. She's gonna seduce Dieter and flirt with him for a week, and then right before they're about to kiss, ah!
Oh my god! He has a heart attack and dies.
Oh man. Yes, you make it out of town, and then we'll take a couple minute break, 5 minute break or so, and we'll see where this goes. Get some refills. Toilet cat.
Toilet cat.
For people
Toilet
who
cat
are
in the
new,
chat.
it's a weird thing. It started as just a passing comment, and now it's our freaking mascot. Um, Origin of the story is that I have the tiniest bladder ever. I always have. Drew and I have been playing D&D together for many years now, and that has always been the case. I have
I mean,
always.
he's doing good. He's made it to an hour and
Yeah.
15 minutes
I
in.
haven't done it yet.
That achievement.
Yeah, so normally I take plenty of pee breaks. I'm doing better recently. I don't know why. But yes, we'll take a quick couple minute break, and we'll be back here and explore not Driftchapel, but the area surrounding Driftchapel. So yes,
Scary.
scary. So I need to find my thing. Taking a break. Yeah, we'll be right back.
I am here.
Sweet. Alright. I'm unmuted. It looks like it's all good. Toilet cats, toilet cats, toilet cats.
Toilet cat.
So, you have a very rough sketch of what seem to be connecting areas between Driftchapel and the waterways to ponds and lakes and other bodies of water outside of Driftchapel. You guys, thank you, phone, have recently traveled along the withered road to Driftchapel, coming from the west. So you kind of know what is that way, and that is the closest body of water, being just roughly 2 to 3 days outside of Driftchapel. And you've already been this way, you know these roads, and you may have even seen this body of water on the way in. Alternatively, you can head eastward out of town instead of westward, or northwestward as it were, toward the Irwhile Bog, which tends to be a more dangerous area due to the bog witches that live that way. Bog witches aren't necessarily Gloam witches. They're sort of more druidic in nature, but they definitely are a little mad, a little cackly. Tend to do some crazy things, which is why a lot of people fear them, and also because of the general fear of unrestrained, unregulated magic. There is a body of water that you notice it stops at the Irwhile Bog. There are no bodies of water that are dotted and marked beyond or within the bog. It stops short. Whereas going northwest, there are a couple. There are 3 or 4 that extend out that way, closer to the settlement of Cairnstead, which is sort of the leading city of the barony of Strand. Effectively, would you like to head toward the Irwhile Bog, which is sort of the frontier as far as this map goes, as far as the cult map goes, and it's a little bit farther, maybe 4 or 5 days out, and then might end in Bog Witch territory, or do you want to go to familiar roads to the nearest body of water within 2 to 3 days?
Are you asking the players or the characters?
Both?
I see Dieter's asking us a question.
There, so which one you want to go to? I don't give a shit.
Bradley wants to go fuck with some bog witches, but Kamin knows it's a horrible idea.
See, I feel as though it's the opposite way in my head. Sludig wants to go to bog witches, and Drew's like, that sounds like dying.
That's fair. That makes sense.
So we've got 1 vote for each, or 2 votes for each right now. What you got, Daniel?
I'm looking at the map, to see where everything is on the Google Drive. All right. Well, if I have to be the tiebreaker, let's make things interesting. Let's go meet some bog witches.
No. Okay, that's fine. Yes. So, gonna go meet some bog witches, maybe.
Gonna meet some more meat morps.
Never mind. I can't even bring myself to say it.
More eggs.
Yes.
Have a great summer.
So you start heading northeastward. Now, we might be stopping a little bit sooner rather than later because this might get interesting. And I don't want to throw you guys into a fray when people are tired or need to be up early. I'm going to roll for some random encounters each day as you travel the roads. And basically, if at what point I roll a random encounter, we might just have to call it there, and we'll pick up next time, just because
something
combat can be you guys know what I mean.
I'll blend them away.
That's fair. Or wait, I can just let you guys have some fun and fight some random Gloam creatures in the swamp before we stop too short and just, have fun with it. We'll find out right now. I'm going to change the criteria a little bit. Generally, I'm gonna peek behind the screen. Normally, it's on a d20 roll, 17 to 20. Random encounters occur, depending on the area and how dangerous it is. The range increases. So I think since you are heading into a realm that is notoriously fickle and filled with bog witch magic and swamps and things, it is going to be far less forgiving. And so I'm going to say on a roll of 16 to 20, something happens.
Or
You say or not? Or something happens right now. Let's throw the book out. We're done. I don't even. So, this is a collaborative story. Do you guys want it to be a something happens from the something happens table, or the moment you leave town a random encounter happens?
you're the DM.
I'll roll on
I
this.
thought he was asking chat.
That too. Let's. I'll test the waters. No pun intended.
Hey.
I'll
Promising.
test the water. Fucking deep end.
Test the water, throws you in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Good luck.
Oh man, who will my victim be?
Dieter.
Jesus. Kamin, you're 1, Aminah, you're 2, Sludig, you are 3. I'm gonna roll a d4. If it lands on 4, you don't want it to land on a 4. A 2. Aminah.
Hi.
You travel for the first ways out of town, and the first few hours of your journey, you probably won't want to travel past sunset. So you only get a good 3 to 4 hours in before you need to settle down for the evening. Well, I guess Aminah, do you take special care to hide your affliction, or do you go to bed with it on, or do you just go ahead and let it breathe and reveal to everyone in Dieter?
She'll loosen it a little bit so it's not like super tight, but she's never gonna outright take it off, especially in front of people that, well, don't really need to see her like that.
Yeah.
Especially out here in this setting where she's not gonna get any privacy.
You, you know that state of whenever you're just falling asleep and you start dreaming before you're in too deep of sleep?
Yeah.
It feels like that. You just lay down and go to sleep, and you smell the smell of the sea still on the air, even though you're several hours away from the ocean at this point. And you start having a dream, a vision, being able to, even though you're not fully asleep yet, to the point where it's almost like you're just sitting there and reading a book or imagining it, like you have not been laying down for that long.
Mm-hmm.
And as you start to smell the bit of the sea salt and feel the breeze, you also start hearing the crashing of waves. And you're like, that's not right. That can't be right. We are way too far. And you feel yourself and you gasp for air as you rise up out of the water. You look around and you can feel your own breath on your face, like there's something in front of you. You can feel cold metal pressing against your skin. And you feel like you're just wearing a big metal suit. And you can feel yourself get up, rising up out of the water, It pours from this metal suit in between the plating. You flex your fingers. You could hear yourself breathing in this metal suit. And you sort of watch as a viewer in your own body, climbing up over the rocks onto the shore, walk between some of the buildings of Driftchapel. And you recall, Sludig saw this. This is exactly how he described it. And you watch this creature walk, or yourself walk down the street, stop and turn toward the various houses, people peering through the windows, and keep walking. And stops, looks around, and you look over to the left at the Rivermouth Inn, just positioned over one of the narrow waterways. And stops and lingers. Over to the inn. Smashes the door open. You feel this as you bash through. You can feel the wood splinter with ease under your massive arm. And you walk over across the floor, people cowering at the edges of the room. And you see through the glass lens of this metal helmet, Rosanna, with her metal-tipped, weighted staff, run forward and just ting, ting against the metal suit. And you vroom, smash her over to the side of the wall. Grab her limp body up in your hand. Smash through the wall of the inn and splash down into the waterways. And then you in your campsite in the dark, dreary forest. You look around. Probably Sludig came and you wake up hearing Aminah gasp and breathe. And you wake up and you've only... For Kamin and Sludig, you may not even have been asleep. Because Aminah, you've probably only been laying there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
So did we just leave Dieter on first watch or something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because that sounded like we just all didn't set a watch.
Nah, he sets one. He watches.
The Malachi can watch, kind of. Chasing bugs in the dim moonlight.
Yes, Aminah, you have that strange early sleep phase dream.
I'm gagged, y'all. I mean, I don't think she would even really say anything. Like, she would like take the time to just be like, what the fuck just happened?
That's a very good question.
Like, and do Kamin and Sludig, like, do they like approach
Yes.
me?
I imagine they definitely see something has happened, and it's just up to them if they want to be like, "Hey, you good?"
I had already asked that, but I think I got covered up or was interrupting. But
Okay.
is everything okay?
All right. Well, she takes a second, just like. Just a bad dream.
Well, I've had my fair share of those. I remember the night with the anchor. I was plagued by the guy coming back. It sounded like the place was rattling. I couldn't sleep the entire night.
Yeah. It sure feels like one of those. But we gotta try and get some rest. We don't know what's up ahead. So, if you don't mind, and she just tries to like roll back over and go back to sleep.
Love it. Thank you, Bradley.
You're welcome.
I normally, whenever someone does a something happens, I will like let them know like, hey, this is what the something happens was. But it's better if I don't say what it was,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a couple that would make that very spoilery. So we'll see.
Oh dear.
That could have been a number of things. I don't want to spoil
Oh
anything.
man.
We'll just say we'll call it deja vu.
Deja who?
Deja what? So that night, we'll say that's what happens that night. The next day.
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger. I'm going to we'll make this so simple, because we'll have some fun with it. I need to get the sound fixed. Hold on one moment.
No.
I'm glad that got you, Drew. I'm glad
Welcome
that
to my D&D stream.
there are tortoises in the road.
We kindly walk around them and allow them to finish.
Allow them to have sex. Yeah. Ooh, that is far too loud. So, the next day, effectively, unfortunately, hold on, it is because you guys have not traveled in a long time, you all have a horse and cart that
Oh,
family had given
You're
you.
right.
Yes.
I was about to
Yeah,
say, you're walking through mud, but no, you have a horse and cart
Mhm.
that you definitely forgot about.
We absolutely did.
Did you ever name the horse?
I think we named it Bella, but that was yes.
Is it just one horse or is it two?
It's just the one horse.
That's right. It's the one horribly sickly looking.
Yeah, and I'll assume that during your downtime you tended to them, you washed them, brushed them, fed them.
Certainly didn't forget about them and find them dead in a stable.
Well, I
Oh,
remember
man.
in the
That's what I expected.
well, I remember in
Find
the
them
first
stolen.
session, I was like, "What do you do with it?" And you're like, "I don't know. We'll just leave it in an alley and like hope."
We did do that.
That's exactly what you did.
We're so forward thinking.
That poor fucking horse. The entire time it's like, these motherfuckers just left me in the goddamn alley.
Big bad evil guy.
Oh man. You guys wake up the next morning, disembark. It's still, of course, overcast, rainy, and muddy all the way through. Any semblance that this was once a main road is gone. It is rough and tumble here on out. And at least before, the road to Driftchapel was well traveled. This one, out toward the bog, has not been traveled in a very, very long time. You guys travel for a good chunk of the day, so you've gotten through a day and a half to 2 days, with the wagon at least 2 days, of your journey, and settling down once again. This is about to be real stupid. I'm really sorry for it. Along the way, Dieter talks and talks and talks. He talks about the monsters he's shot at and fought. He's talked about the witches he's hunted down as a crusader. He talks about what so-and-so said down at the docks, whenever so-and-so ate so-and-so's lunch, how so-and-so got scheduled for certain hours, how he watched this person die and then this person died. No, wait, it was the cousin of this person. Oh, wait, was it last week or the week before that I... So it basically goes on and on.
Work flashbacks.
Exactly. It reaches the point of almost white noise of hearing Dieter go on. You all get very well trained in the art of the yeah.
I present him to Malachi and just let him talk to Malachi.
Look
the
at
whole time.
Malachi. I love
I
it.
figure we had Dieter driving and the rest of us were
Oh,
back
yeah.
in the cart.
Oh yeah. He plays his music. It's all dubstep. If I could get
There's just some Skrillex deep cut.
exactly, if this is the B side of the album. If I could get all of you to roll a sanity check.
Oh fuck.
Oh boy.
So
Oh.
all of your sanity dice went up by 1 if it had dropped down at all.
It dropped twice.
If it didn't
We're wanting
drop, it
high
stays the
numbers,
same,
right?
though, yeah.
If it didn't drop, it's the same, correct?
Is it just a 1 or is that 1 or a 2?
It's 1 or a 2.
Okay.
I got a
5.
10.
I'm still sane.
Nice.
I got a 5.
Here, what'd you get?
A 10.
Good. It only starts to dawn on you, like, going, yeah, to Dieter after a while, that you realize, like, I can't hear anything else. And then you try to tune him out and listen to your surroundings, watching the tree line, looking at the ground for any weird things. And then it just starts to compile, and you're like, what am I missing? And it starts to, pile on. You're like, oh, that corner's a little too dark. But no, it's just Dieter's ramblings making you paranoid. All right. And you reach a point where you meet like a fallen log in the road, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw this one time the cultists jumped out and stabbed a bunch of the people I was with." And so you all watch around carefully over the course of probably like an hour, slowly move this thing out of the way, and nothing happens. But it's enough to keep you on edge. But the journey for the rest of the day continues. The sun begins to set, and you go to make your camp and rest for the evening. As you start to go to sleep, and of course, because this is not normal D&D, you're all humans for the most part. Humans, asterisk.
Yes.
You require a full night's rest as opposed to elves who don't. Or warforged who just don't.
Sit there.
So your long rests tend to be a little bit longer for that fact, to just make sure everyone gets enough sleep. And Dieter will offer to take the first watch just to make it easier. Who takes the second watch?
I'll take the second watch.
Okay. Who takes the third watch?
I'll take third.
And Kamin, you take the fourth watch.
I do.
Kamin, you start to hear very not wind rustling in the trees around you. You can't hardly see the moon because of the overcast. You can just see a little bit of its radiance through the clouds overhead. You can occasionally see the silhouettes of, a bird or a bat flit across it, but beyond that, it's just dark around you besides what's left of your campfire and torches. But you definitely hear rustling amidst the limb of the trees and brush around you.
So, feeling the desire to be cautious, especially while my companions are sleeping. I won't wake them yet, but I'll look around through the trees real quick to see if I can see anything specific or hear anything specific.
Make a perception check for me.
If Malachi helps me, will that change anything?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh cool, that's a nat 20 for a 21.
So, you crane around, you hear the rustling, you start to almost assume, like, okay, maybe it's some squirrels, it's, something, a herd of frogs, is that a thing? A group, a cluster, a tribe of frogs, and then you look over, and a business, a company of frogs, and you look over, and Malachi is zipping away from the campsite, away from the road, deeper into the forest, and he gets a little too far out, and he turns around and just like,
what is it, boy? What'd you see?
He's
His little Timmy's stuck in the well.
Yeah, so you can communicate telepathically with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it necessarily works the other way around. Like if it's full sentences or concepts.
I'm gonna hold up a piece of parchment and a quill and
well-
tell him to telepathically or telekinetically write what he sees.
The first thing he does is go and like flip his tongue around outside of his mouth.
Do I know what that means?
Water.
Okay. I give him some water.
He starts doing circles at the edge of the camp.
I am going, at this point, I'm going to light a lantern.
You-
Surround us.
You light a lantern, and he moves toward the edge of the lantern light and keeps doing circles again, going,
This is really frustrating. I don't know what you're saying.
he
Here.
clearly wants you to, like, follow him. He's like, something over here.
Cool. Hang on. And I'm going to turn around and there's like a patch of ground next to where I was sleeping. Going to hold my hand out, focus for a moment, tense up, and you just kind of see shadows from around the area just begin to coalesce. And I'm going to cast Summon Aberrant Spirit. And this one going to be a very large, like 7 to 8 foot tall, super broad, muscular looking blob of green gelatin.
Super muscular.
with a few bones and other things like debris kind of floating around inside of it. But I'll look at it and say, Queasel, you stay here and you watch over them. If anything else happens, come and get me. And I follow Malachi into the forest by myself because that's so smart.
I love it. So you follow him, and he zips through trees around brush, flicking his tongue out into the air like a snake. And eventually, you come out to what seems to be a
Oh,
bit of a clearing.
point of knowing. Gazers have the ability to mimic speech.
Ooh, yeah.
What is it? Mimicry. Sounds of speech. It is heard in any language. So it can kind of talk, kind of like a kinku.
Yeah. So he would convey, it's coming from over here. There's some sounds. There's a voice.
Okay. Cool. I will follow him within reason. I'm not trying to get right up next to whatever's making these noises.
You sure?
I am.
So you eventually make your way up to a clearing. And the trees part away to reveal us. Unlike the mud and dirt you've seen thus far, the ground becomes rock, like stone protruding up through the dirt and mud, to the point where it becomes almost flat, solid ground. It creates almost like a crater near the center of this clearing where rocks have moved and cracked away and shifted, from tectonic motion. And Malachi sort of floats out near the edge of it, wags his tongue out in the air, heavy breathing, and he points one eye stalk down in the direction of that like rocky crater, this bowl in the ground. He says, there, water, someone's down there, water.
I'm just look to him, hold up my finger, and I'm just trying to kind of float down closer to the ground. And I'm going to attempt to quietly approach the situation at hand.
Okay.
Just to see what the hell is going on.
You
Probably die.
You
Here we
creep
go.
a bit closer, and this divot, this bowl in the ground, it's maybe 10 or so feet across. It's made up of a bunch of stone almost laying on top of itself. Make a perception check for me.
15.
You can hear very faintly the trickle of water like, kind of like in a cave or a cavern. You start to listen a bit closer. Just hear that bloop, bloop, and then it echoes. But then in your ear, not from the cavern, in your ears, you start to hear the crashing of waves. And then you start to feel beneath your feet and almost see the rocks start to and shake and rumble.
I'm backing the hell up.
You back the hell up. Do you wait and see what happens?
I stand like at the edge of the clearing and see what happens behind a
Okay.
tree with one eye, peering like a Scooby-Doo character.
Yes. Broop, broop. Yeah, you pop out, then one of Malachi's eyes pops out, and then all the others start to pop out. Now, go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
Oh boy, do I need to make one for Malachi as well?
Yes, you do.
He is actually proficient in that.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be?
You gotta be quiet while you're gazing.
Professional
That's
stalker.
not creepy enough as it is. to use different dice. It's almost as if he is a creature designed to do that very thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I got a 16. He got a 15. Oh dear. Oh.
You watch as the. Do you douse your lantern?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought so. I just want to make sure.
Probably left the lantern at the camp because I
Okay, gotcha. So you watch as the overlapping jagged rocks at the bottom of this crater, which isn't very deep, it rends itself apart. The rubble flies up into the air, and the rocks almost peel back like an egg hatching. And Bradley, I need you to roll a D8 for me.
Oh, a D8?
A D8.
7.
You watch as a mass of flesh. And with your dark vision, it's hard to tell, but it seems like grayish in color. As it erupts from this earthy crater, the bit of moonlight that's barely visible through the clouds shines a bit of light on this creature, and it is shiny. It looks slick and slippery in this gray mass. But as it turns, you can almost make out limbs, like front legs, mid-abdomen legs. And as it turns, you can almost make out what seems to be a back, a spine to it, that is covered in these craggy, rough-looking bumps and scales across its back. But you don't necessarily see eyes or a mouth. It's just a mass of moving flesh and scales. And it rends itself out of this stone, and you hear a massive crashing of waves, and you can almost see like a splash of water in the air as it rips itself free into the air. It's probably standing 15 feet above the ground, still not fully exposed, and roars into this clearing, loud enough for Sludig and Aminah to be shaken awake. It's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and you were just woken up by an earth-shaking roar. And Kamin is gone.
But there is a giant flubber.
There's a giant flubber.
Well, is there any indication as to this giant sound? I'm gonna go towards the giant sound. Kamin,
You're like, I'm
giant
thinking too
sound.
highbrow. Yeah, that's too much.
We've met the flubber before, right?
You have, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That flubber.
Yeah, the flubber is the thing I tried to fight in
Yeah.
this state.
Yeah.
No,
I-
actually,
This was in
I thought it was
the
another.
first
Flubber
time.
was in the
fourth.
session 0.
Oh,
The thing you tried to fight was the what's it called? The star
Star
spawn.
Spawn.
Yeah, the flubber looks at you all as you wake up and
like okay, so Aminah pieces together like, oh, okay, so whatever's happening, like Kamin already went to check out. So quickly like ties everything like back together in place, pulls out Seraphim and like
Hmm.
like I imagine Sludig would be awake at this point too. It'd be
Oh,
like we just
definitely.
we would I
Yeah.
just look at him and be like, let's go see what the noise is about, and then pew darts in the direction that she can she tell like where it came and went?
Yes, so if you and Sludig, this is
I
gonna be
was
yes.
I was gonna go slightly separate from Aminah
Okay.
because I'm going to bring my lantern.
I'll say I'll have either way. I'll have the two of you make your choice of a wisdom or intelligence check, just straight wisdom or intelligence.
I got a 22 for wisdom.
I'm gonna make that intelligence and say that's a 9.
Damn, Daniel, you've been rolling like boo boo this
It
session.
happens.
It happens. Sludig, you can immediately pinpoint. You've probably spent a little more time out in woods and wilderness probably than the other two have. So you kind of quickly like, okay, came from that way. So you're able to pinpoint. Do you want to let Aminah go ahead of you, or do you want to go on ahead and Aminah can follow in your shadow?
I think I'm faster than Aminah, so I'll be a little beacon as to where to
Okay,
go.
that makes sense. So yeah, Aminah, you can see just the lantern light moving through the forest. Kamin, you quickly identify or pick up that this creature doesn't know you're there. It is not turned to in your direction or anything. But it roars out, and the roar sounds suspiciously like the crashing of waves. And the more it roars over and over again, and every time it does, it feels like this clearing and the shadows and the darkness of the forest around you get darker and darker and darker every time.
I will mentally command Queasel to get the fuck over here.
Aminah's sneaking through the forest, all of a sudden he's like moving by.
It's like a big ball of slime rolling through the woods, picking up
Leaves
leaves and
and
twigs as it goes.
After a few moments of this roaring, and of course Sludig and Aminah, that starts pointing you more in the direction of it as you continue to hear it roar and roar and roar. And both you probably would also notice that the closer you get to the sound, essentially the louder the sound, the darker it is. Eventually, Kamin, it almost just feels like you're looking up. If you imagine looking up at the forest clearing, you can see the sky overhead just barely illuminated by the moon. It's almost as if the trees and the canopy overhead are growing inward, and that bit of light gets smaller and smaller. And then you hear what seems like the screech of a bat. This high-pitched sounds. And you see the silhouettes of flying creatures overhead. But it almost looks oozy. It flaps its wings, and you can see specks of just like trailing off of it. And the high-pitched squealing starts to turn into wee, 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 and it gets louder, more grating against your ears, and they start to circle overhead as this creature just roars. And at this point, Sludig, you would probably, just at the edge of your dim light, see the silhouette of this creature, hear that shrieking sound, and Sludig, what do you do?
Does it seem to have noticed me yet with my lantern being on?
That's what I was about to ask. If you can see it with your lantern, you can assume it will see you. But you have a high enough past perception to be able you see it at just the edge if you wanted to.
So I want to leave my lantern and go to like the opposite end of the dim light so that I can see if anything goes in there and get the drop on it.
Interesting. I like it. Okay. So Aminah, you see Sludig place his lantern down and sort of take cover. Do you want to do anything?
From where I am, do I notice that it is like I noticed the shape of it, right? It's like
Mhm.
I can tell like it's like um gelatinous. Same thing with the flying creatures. Yeah.
Yes.
Um that's not going to be applicable here. Let's see. I don't know what the best way. Oh, for sorry, other question. How? Okay, I don't know how would be the best way to do this. I don't know if it's like with smell, with passive perception, or whatever.
Okay.
I want to know if there is anything corrosive or acidic about this.
Ooh, interesting. Do you
Like, I
have?
want to know if there's any like smell that like can tell like this
Yeah.
is poisonous or acidic or something like that.
Do you have dark vision? It would be
I
in
sure
your
do.
spite. Perfect. Um, Go ahead then and make either a perception or investigation check.
Okie doke. Please be good, please be good, please be good. Fuck yeah, it is a 21 investigation. Finally.
Nice. Looking at this creature, you also start to pick up on the crashing of waves, and you start to smell a fishy smell, like rotten fishy smell.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange this far away from the ocean. Looking at this creature from this distance, it's not doing anything like spitting venom or acid or oozing things out of the ordinary. You can tell, especially as an adept, studious magic user, you can see that it is almost to a degree bending the world around it. You're looking through some of the trees, looking at areas past it and the darkness that has manifested around it. And you can almost see, if you're looking at it through tree limbs, you can see a tree limb that kind of imposes itself between you and it. And you can almost see it like warp and just
Oh,
move slightly. So it's something magical, not acidic or corrosive.
okay, so just so like I visualize it, this is like in the Doctor Strange movie when they're in the like the zero dimension, whatever pocket dimension where like everything kind of folds in on
That's
itself and
kind of
blah
what
blah
it
blah.
looks like. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it seems, because it's not like, acidic or venomous looking,
Mhm.
there's also something magical about it, which means this is something that's
Okay.
not natural and that you've ever necessarily seen before.
All right. Well, okay, good. That's good knowledge to have. As I'm just trying to paint a mental image. So like
Hmm.
basically if a tree was like standing up straight, it would like be slowly sort of bending sideways, and like if this kept going, it would be upside down.
Yes.
I am climbing up to the top of that tree, baby.
Awesome. And with that, if I could get all of you to make a stealth check for me.
Of which my mini practice hours during the last weeks, I am now proficient thanks to the skilled expert feat.
23.
15 and 19.
18.
So, we'll paint this picture again. So, Sludic, you set your lantern down. I think lanterns are 20 and 20, or is it 30 and 30?
I think it's 20 and 20.
I think it is.
I should really have written that down, but if I were to bet on it, it would be 20.
I think it's 20 and 20. So we'll call you an even 30 feet away from the clearing. Does that work for you?
Oh, sorry, I have a bullseye lantern.
Oh, yeah, so I think
which is bright light in a 60-foot cone and dim light for an additional 60 feet.
Okay. So really, truly, you could be 120 feet away when you set down your lantern. Do you want to be closer than that?
I want to be closer, but outside the cone of light.
That works for me. How close would you say if we use the even numbers?
I'll be 45 feet, which is my maximum movement speed.
You want to be a moving away. That sounds good. So 45 feet away outside of the cone of light. And, of course, the cone of light attracts the attention of this creature. And you guys hear the screech of these strange Gloam bats overhead. They're almost akin to the shadow creatures you had fought in the manor, except these are flying and bat-shaped. I mean, it's batty. Aminah, you make your way up a tree, and in fact, almost to your surprise and a little bit of your horror, the tree, as you run up it, it does feel like it is actually bent inward. It's not just seemingly an illusion. This is warping things around it. And you make it up there, you take a quick perch. It turns for the first time. And at this point, it turns, and it still doesn't have necessarily eyes or a face. It has a mouth, but almost like axolotl-like. It's just kind of like a black hole. Like there's nothing in there. It's just a fleshy mass of a mouth. It turns, it sprouts several varieties of arms, legs, and appendages. And roars directly in the direction of the cone of light. So Sludig, it yells in your direction very roughly. But Kamin, as you shear away, try to hide behind with Malachi a nearby tree and brush, there's a massive shrieking noise as a bat peels itself away from the crook of this tree right at you and shrieks. And we're probably not going to have time to do the encounter tonight, but in preparation for that encounter, if I could get all of you to roll a sanity check.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, I've got a D8 now. That was a 1.
Woo,
8.
4.
Your turn to suffer.
I'll say, so this is a variety of new Gloam creatures. However, Sludig, you are pretty well versed in fighting the Gloam and observing it and seeing it. So Sludig, go ahead and roll me a d10.
I just rolled one of those, and that
Oh,
did
I'm
me
sorry.
dirty. A 7. Lucky number 7. Yay.
As this thing yells in your direction, Sludig, one, you feel that, oh, it knows where I am. But it's roaring. It's this abyssal screaming that it is doing that almost sounds like the crashing of waves. It almost starts to take up the forefront of your mind. And your mind starts to jump like, okay, no, it's still... Oh, no, Aminah ran... So Kamin's up... So it's looking at... And you find it difficult, impossible to concentrate. You critically fail all d20 rolls on the result of a 1 or a 2.
Oh, no.
Until you finish a long... Or not a long rest, a short rest we're doing with Mana Spell. So,
no.
essentially, depending on how this encounter goes... Well, basically, for this encounter, at the very least, you critically fail on a 1 or a 2. And that's where we'll start again in 2 weeks. So, because I imagine that a combat encounter will take a while, and it's already late.
Cliffhangers.
Well, Bradley, you were just saying how tired you were.
I was, but
Yeah, I'm trying to... I want to see if Sludig dies or not. I'm really good at 1s and 2s.
Me too, man. Yes, Daniel, you had an
I would like to do one last thing before we go into our encounter.
What
because,
is it? It might depend on if you'll have the time to or not.
Well, considering that this technically falls in a bonus action, this may be fast. I don't know. I want to shift.
Oh, you want to do your thing?
I want to do shifting.
Oh, that's just too cool. So
Because clearly shit's about to go down, and Amina's like, "Oh, fuck! I better get ready for this."
Yeah, and honestly, we could paint it this way: of as this thing roars, you can tell its magical nature, and it is Gloam as Gloam can be. That you almost start involuntarily, like almost survival instinct, like start shifting. You're like, oh no, oh no, oh no! And then become a spider. Ooh, yeah, that's cool.
So is it like a voluntary thing, or is it like a Bruce Banner and Hulk kind of like fight for dominance?
I don't know.
Or will we see?
I guess we'll find out, because I think it's the first time you've done this.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm super pumped. Yeah, I was talking to Rachel during our break. That you guys had mentioned a couple of things you wanted to do previously, and so I kind of made a note of like, okay, they wanted to go visit this place, talk to this person, etc., etc. But I totally did not think that you were going to leave town. And so then you're like, yeah, let's leave town. I was like,
Son of a.
but it'll be fun. It'll be
What
fun.
D&D campaign are they doing?
I love it though. It'll be so much fun. I'm excited, and I'm going to be in the next couple of months starting a Rime of Frostmaiden campaign, and I'm definitely going to be taking some of the stuff I've learned through this and trying to apply it, because baby,
God,
Drive them
that
mad.
campaign would be insane with gritty realism.
I know.
Gritty realism, everything.
Make them do it.
And I've read that, classes that are adept in survival stuff, so like druids, clerics, rangers, that they can pretty much like beat Rime of the Frostmaiden, because if it's like, ooh, it's a lot of survival in the wilderness, and it's like, oh, just wear winter clothing and cast Goodberry, and you're fine. That it really defeats the purpose of the campaign. And so like I've already told them, like, if you want to play a druid ranger, that's totally fine, but I'm going to add more rules to still make it interesting and fun. Like, I'm just going to make it harder and compensate for that, because it's no fun just to completely subvert all of the challenges of it. Like that, it gets old.
When we started Tomb of Annihilation, I made a Swarmkeeper Ranger. And I used at that time it was Unearthed Arcana, but now it's official Rangers changes in Tasha's Canny, where I could take expertise in a skill. And I just so happened to take expertise in survival. And then as we left, we were given a ring. I won the dinosaur race, and we got a ring that gave me advantage on survival checks. So the hex crawl was a fucking breeze.
I believe it. Yeah. And that's no fun. That's no fun. Gotta be interesting. And I think what I'll probably end up doing is, if they want to do that, just essentially turn the survival stuff into skill challenges. Essentially, instead of like, hey, make a survival check for the entire day, I'm like, hey, make a bunch of different checks for different things. You have to fail one of them at some point. And it's just, but yeah, anyway, this campaign, I'm loving it. And I finally sat down. Don't judge me. I finally sat down today and plotted out like the different encounters and the triggers and consequences for certain encounters.
Oh boy!
And so I have a plan, a map of like, okay, if they go do this, then XYZ happens, and this and that. And so yeah, I feel much better about like, all right, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Oh man, so much fun. Very creeped out at the weird
Good.
flesh cocoon.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
And then you said it had an axolotl mouth, and I was like, oh, it's cute.
It's cute. It's cute, kind of, from the front, and then it.
I'm thinking like Quagsire, but with lots of limbs coming out of it.
Kinda, yeah.
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 Yeah, also, the fact that those just sprout.
Wait till you see what's down in there behind it.
Oh, jeez.
Well, on that note,
Excuse me.
Oh man. Who else is in line, ready to come out? So yes.
That's not the worm.
Bring it full circle back to SpongeBob. Bring it full circle.
The Alaskan bullworm.
Big,
Oh my
hairy,
God.
and pig. Yeah, so is Sludig's belly button.
Oh my
Can I see when I
God,
came
you're
into
killing
contact with the
me.
Gloam beast, he turned my innie into an outie.
Everyone make a sanity roll. Your belly button's now an outie.
that would fucking rock my shit. I'm an adult. Why do I have an Audi?
Well, could you imagine, like, you're just going about your day and all of a sudden just like, boop.
Oh, are you just hungry or are you happy to see me?
Oh my God.
Oh my god. Does
And on that
Malachi
note-
have a bit? No.
Yeah, it's on the bottom though. It's like a beach ball with the little slug. If you pull it out, he deflates and zooms across the room.
I'll make.
And on that note,
Yeah, we gotta be done. There's no
What
one
did we
else.
learn today?
What did
We
we
learned
learn?
that the weather outside is Jimmy Buffett. That sanity checks can result in your innie becoming an outie, and horrible, horrible, aberrant Pokemon exist.
Absolutely. I'm like, the Gloam ate my grandma. Well, it turned my idiot into an outie. Oh, that sucks, man.
It got better.
It got better. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, on that note, barring crazy circumstances, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. Same normal time. You can find information on my Twitch channel, and I also try and post on social media before each session. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. We still don't have a sign-off, except the weather outside is Jimmy Buffett. I guess that's the new one?
That's it.
That's
the-
it.
that's the new one. The weather is Jimmy Buffett, y'all.
See, I just keep putting that to the weather outside.
That's what I was.
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett. The ground rips open and Jimmy Buffett roars from the depths.
Oh God! Oh my sanity!
Everyone's sanity is immediately dropped down to 1d2.
I cast Margaritaville.
Everyone's wearing a Hawaiian shirt now. Oh my god. Alright, that's enough. We can't
Oh
keep.
my God.
Who's letting us do this? Where's my thing? Stream ending. Alright, see you in 2 weeks, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for all our new people.
Bye.
Have a
Thank you for
good
watching.
night. Thank you so much.